and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Doug Carlson calls Biden senile. Dr. Jill Stein, RFK Jr., Dr. Cornel West are systematically beating Biden. But how is that possible? What's going on here? All right. So first, Biden being senile, and then 3 independent candidates are also beating Biden because new polling data is showing that Biden is losing voters. See, there was original talk of how Trump would be losing, but no, it's Biden. It's the Democrats because they lost their coalition. They lost their voting base. Now, to be clear here, Trump beating Biden, it should come as no surprise here. And no, this isn't an endorsement of Trump. But I'm not surprised that Donald Trump is ahead of Biden or that he's ahead in his primary. I'm also not surprised at seeing this huge boost in third-party support. I'm happy to see it. I would prefer it to be a little bit more structured and more built up. I think, again, maybe I'm imposing my view or my high standards upon them, but nonetheless, I am somewhat pleased. I'll give it a 75% C, if I had to grade it. But it's looking as though we could see third parties being that key role in potentially getting Americans to get more involved in politics, but also the fact that the Democrats have invited their own destruction due to the choices that they have made in regards to abusing their voting base, lying to their voting base, and assuming that everyone would fall in line now that the orange boogeyman was gone in 2020. Ooh, Donald Trump. Who's afraid of Donald Trump? So let's go ahead and pull up this video here, because first, I think we deserve a laugh, right? Because Biden being senile. I said it before. Democrats, this is your old dog. Now, everybody who's part of this Twitter space sees it. I've been calling it out. Everyone, even you at home watching Hard Lens Media, you've called it out. Biden is 81 years old. This man should not have the highest seat in the land. And yet, I get yelled at by liberals by saying, oh, you support third parties. You're helping Trump. You should be helping out Biden because Trump is a fascist. I don't care. Look, Donald Trump lives rent-free in your head. Okay, you're afraid of Trump? Fine. I've got bigger fish to fry. I've got other concerns. And it's not who's the president of these United States. It's not Donald Trump. People who are worried about Trump are people who don't have any lives at all. Okay, and the people who are worried about Trump secretly wish they were Trump, because a lot of projection here. A lot of people say, oh, Trump's this, he's a racist, he's a bigot. All those people who are screaming how bad Trump is, secretly, they're kind of like him too, or they wish they could be like him. It's projection. It's projection. Beware of people who have Trump derangement syndrome, because secretly, they kind of want to be like Trump.
Who left the Coke, Tucker?
I leave my blow in the truck every time, just on principle. I mean, they got dogs in there and everything. So, and I think most people do because it's the White House. And so, I've been sober for 21 years, but, I have used drugs, and I know the paranoia that accompanies the use of illegal drugs. And no normal cocaine user, whether chronic or habitual or casual, would ever think to bring cocaine into the White House, because that's a no-no. I don't care how high you are. I'm not doing that.
The bug of sugar in the White House.
And so clearly it's someone who lives or works there who's so familiar with it that the, kind of the fear of being around Secret Service and dogs, they got a lot of dogs at the White House, is not at all a motivator. So it's someone from the family, obviously. And you've got a couple of heavy drug users in the family. I feel sad for the family. A lot of families have heavy drug. I'm not attacking the Bidens, by the way. I feel sorry for them. But Ashley Biden has had a publicly documented struggle with substance abuse, and of course, Hunter as well. So, but what's amazing to me, so you sort of feel bad for anybody who's got to get high so bad they're bringing cocaine into the White House. But on the other hand, it's stop lying to me. But the whole thing is a lie. The presidency's a lie. The guy's senile. His press secretary can barely speak English. She's like a functional moron. How does she?
Oh, oof. I know. I got to take it easy with the oof, but there, oof, right there.
Have a driver's license. The whole thing. Toria Nuland is Undersecretary of State, the person who helped start the Iraq War. It's a grotesque painting. It's honestly, it's like a Salvador Dali portrait of government. It's like insane. It's like the least competent, the most malicious, the least accomplished, and the most personally damaged people are running everything. There's got to be a name for that. Government by freaks.
Yep. Now, what does this mean now, especially as we look at how corrupt our entire system is? Well, here's a video from Case Study QB, who's wrongly still censored on X, formerly known as Twitter. It should be called Phoenix. So you still get the X logo and the bird logo. It would work. Put me in the game, coach, for naming things. Trust me on it. Trust me on it. It'd be great. It'd be great. I would be great in advertising. If y'all want to see a good film about advertising, check out Putney Swope. But I recommend you to be a little high, because you might be enraged at what am I watching? Putney Swope, directed by Robert Downey Sr. It's a gem. It's a gem.
We're going to turn now to new polling of a hypothetical 2024 election matchup that shows Donald Trump beating President Joe Biden in 7 swing states, including 6 won by the sitting president in 2020. According to the new numbers from Morning Consult and Bloomberg, Trump holds a 4-point lead over Biden in Arizona.
Shh. Can you listen and hear? That's the sound of latte drinking liberals crying. That's the sound of vote blue no matter who, thinking, how can I bully these independents and third parties to support Biden? That's the sound of see, trying to come up with a word salad so that all of you will believe the lies again. I said that this was going to happen. Do I take joy in seeing something like this? Am I ecstatic at being proven correct? How do I feel? Oh, I feel great. Oh, I feel vindicated. I mean, listen. I've had a rough year in 2023, okay? I got to take my victories where I can get them. And I love this, all right? No, it's not an endorsement of Trump. It's not. It's just me smiling. On election night, I'm cooking a nice ribeye steak. Everyone else is going to be panicking. I will be ever hopeful for a third party surge. You know, I'll be a little disappointed in that. My heart will be a little bit broken if the third parties don't really kind of break any new ground. But I'll be eating good on that night.
Arizona, a 6-point lead in.
And Kevin Hoffman writes in the live stream chat, I just saw that, but it's the end of democracy. Whatever.
Georgia, 4 points in Michigan, 3 points in Nevada, 2 points in Pennsylvania, 4 points in Wisconsin. Those in addition to a 9-point lead for Trump in North Carolina, a state he won by less than a point in 2020. The new survey also shows Trump with a 7-point victory across all those battleground states when third-party candidates are included on the ballot. Joining us now, White House reporter for Bloomberg, Akayla Gardner, with more on these poll numbers. Akayla, what stood out to you?
I think what stood out to me the most was definitely when those declared third-party candidates and independent candidates were added in, Trump's lead extends to 7 points.
So, hey, Democrats, that means your coalition, your voters, if given a choice, they'll break away. But of course, liberals will say, oh, Dr. Cornel West, Dr. Jill Stein, RFK Jr., all these independents, they're stealing votes. You can't steal something. You got to earn it. You can't spoil something that's already rotten. It's already a dried husk. Okay. You know, and look, I've got my criticisms of the third party candidates too, because they're not saints, they're not angels. I personally think that their campaigns should have maybe been more set up beforehand. Maybe they should have really built their infrastructure up beforehand. But then again, who knows? We'll see what happens in 2024, what kind of ground they'll gain. But liberals, tell me why we should take you serious. Can you not smell it? Can you not see it? Can you not hear it? Aren't you aware of your surroundings? People are angry at the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders failed. AOC and the squad failed. Biden failed. Democrats as a whole have failed. And what? Is it my social responsibility to keep on voting for my abuser? No. And I'm not going to vote Republican because I know what to expect from Republican lawmakers. But I said that this would happen after the general election of 2020. And everyone said, oh, you're so right wing. Whatever. If that makes you sleep at night, knowing that you called me a conservative or a Trump supporter, fine. But I'm an independent. I'm gonna quote from the Willie Bragg show. I'm gonna label myself as a dirtbag leftist. So you know what? I'm a dirtbag leftist, and I'm proud of it. Okay, I'm just proud of it, and I don't owe my vote to the DNC or the RNC.
So we specifically asked voters about Jill Stein, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Cornel West. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. by far had the most support at 9%. And I think this really underscores some of Democrats' worst fears. They had fear that some of these candidates were going to pull away voters from Joe Biden, of course, and this poll at least suggests that they will. But we have seen Democratic efforts to push back against some of these candidates. We've seen some PACs like Move On, the Iron PAC, basically arguing that these candidates do not have a path to the presidency. Move On also debated no labels, which could also put out a candidate in early 2024. And that just adds to the worries that if more candidates, third-party candidates specifically, add to this race, that it could eventually hurt Joe Biden.
You know what that's code word for? And I'll play that again, but that's code word for, hey, Democrats, start working at the state level so that third parties can't be on the ballot, so that they're not on the debate stage. Do everything you can to railroad third-party candidates, no matter what office they're running for in 2024. That is a message. That is a message that was just broadcast because, we got to stand behind Biden. If Biden's so strong and confident, this shouldn't be a concern for him. This should be water off a duck's back. He should be okay, but he's not okay because see is very sad.
Okay,
Hold on, let me just rewind that again, just so you can hear it again.
Not have a path to the presidency. Move On also debated no labels, which could also put out a candidate in early 2024. And that just adds to the worries that if more candidates, third-party candidates specifically, add to this race, that it could eventually hurt Joe Biden.
Okay, when you look at the numbers that Biden is losing, where he's losing from, it's often it's young voters, it's people of color, especially younger Black men, younger Hispanic men. Are you seeing that in this poll as well?
Yeah, that's right. Young voters, Black voters in particular, were also people that were most likely to say that they could consider a new or alternate political party. But I think the thing that stood out the most in this poll was the economy continues to weigh on the president. There was some good signs for Joe Biden, though. People were less likely than in an October poll to say that they, that they thought that price.
Hey, act professional. You can't laugh on air. Only I can do that.
To weigh on the president. There was some good signs for Joe Biden, though. People were less likely than in an October poll to say that they, that they.
She can't keep a straight face. She can't because she knows it's a joke. Don't worry. I would be laughing too. Because you know what I'd do? I'd probably light up a joint and say, hey, people, we're lying to you, right?
Thought that prices were increasing. They were less likely, and they were also more likely to say that their local economy was better than the national economy. So there is some signs that the White House has been hoping that moderating inflation could start to resonate with voters, and this poll starts to show that some of those things are resonating there.
So, okay, let's check through a couple of these states with the idea that, we're still a year out. There's a lot of caveats. Things can change. And these margins are all close, most within even, in fact, the margin of error, particularly if it is just a one-on-one race. There's a lot of concern about Michigan among Democrats in the wake of the Israel-Hamas war, where they're seeing Arab American voters, Muslim voters break away from the president. Not necessarily say they'd vote for Trump, but they might stay home. That's a concern, and Trump up 4 there. Also, the other one that grabbed me is that when you talk to Biden people, and I did some this week, they think that in addition to having to play defense in these swing states, the one where they think they can go on the offense, they might be able to pluck from Trump's column, is North Carolina. But that here, down 9, that seems like a pretty substantial number.
Now, listen, Democrats, listen. Being on the offense, gaining ground. What ground do you have? What stability do you have? You don't have a leg to stand on, Democrats. You don't have a leg to stand on. You're a clown. You're a goof troop. You're a fool. Everybody's laughing at you. You're a joke. A joke. And everybody sees it. Democrats, you are the joke. 3 independent candidates are beating you. Wait, look, listen. Already, independents are gaining ground. And the Libertarians still have their primary. They have they're pretty soon going to be selecting who their nominee will be. Once that's all settled done, oh no, goodness gracious! Now there's not 3, but there's 4, and there's plenty of others that are throwing their hat in the ring. All this talk about third parties. Hey, wait a minute. Isn't there a Democratic primary? They're not important. They're not important. Hence the reason why I get to proudly say that they're not important. Because they're clowns, which leads to this.
Oof. 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 Oof.
Just got to pull this up here, too. Saw this recent tweet. Genocide Joe, the Democrats and DNC are so trash. 3 independents are creeping up on Joe Biden. Applause. There you go. Just had to share that. I saw that and I had to share it.
Agreed. North Carolina, at least according to this poll, is not something that's in the margin of error. Also, Georgia, which the president won by a very close margin as well. And I think the concern was in 2020, Biden had such small margins. He cannot afford to lose some of these key blocks, like you mentioned, Arab Americans, young voters, Black voters. So I think they're really going to have to go on the offense. And something that I think is important to watch, especially in the economy, is they have been talking about price gouging. They're really putting pressure on corporate America, on companies to start bringing down some of those prices, especially in the healthcare industry and the oil industry.
All right, White House reporter for Bloomberg, Kayla Gardner, thank you so much.
All right, you keep on hitting those home runs, Kayla. Biden losing to 3 independents. I said this was going to happen.
Oof. Oof.
But hold on, folks. It gets even worse for Biden.
Tonight, Donald Trump holding a commanding and widening lead in Iowa, just 5 weeks before the state opens the 2024 Republican presidential contest.
Thank you, everybody.
The former president crossing a new threshold, with 51% of Republicans now backing him, according to a new Des Moines Register poll. That's up from 43% in October. The shrinking GOP field has boosted Trump, who now holds a 32-point lead. The race for second place is a showdown, with Ron DeSantis at 19%, followed by Nikki Haley at 16%.
He's his own worst enemy by not being able to control his mouth. And that has consequences for governance and us being able to get things done.
On a weekend Iowa campaign swing, DeSantis and Haley sharpening their attacks on Trump's record.
We know that the economy was good under Donald Trump, right?
Nikki, that's not your name. Weren't you part of that administration? See, all these people that kissed up to Trump. I'm very curious to see how Donald Trump is going to organize his cabinet should he win 2024. How and who he's going to put into power. Because the problem with Trump's first administration was that he surrounded himself with a lot of war hawks and neocons and neoliberals of the Bush-Cheney administration. And a lot of them probably went to office thinking that Trump was going to be biddable like good old George Bush Jr. Yeah, that wasn't the case. Pence wasn't going to tell Trump to do anything, okay? Pence was there. Pence was just a random choice that he picked out of a hat. That's why Pence is VP, okay? All those people now are and the reason why there was such a crowded field is because all of them wanted to be the parasite to take over Trump's political movement, the MAGA movement. That wasn't going to happen.
But what we need to also remember was we went $9 trillion in debt during that same time, and we are paying the price for that.
Nearly half of likely Iowa caucus goers say their minds are made up. But among Trump supporters, 70% say they are firmly committed in their decision.
The first guy that ever got indicted whose poll numbers went up.
The former president is increasingly turning his focus to President Joe Biden, as new CNN polls show fresh signs of warning for the White House. In Michigan and Georgia, 2 of the 5 states Biden turned from red to blue, the president is facing alarmingly low approval ratings. Our poll showing fewer than 4 in 10 approve of his performance in office.
I will save democracy. The threat is critical.
Oh, Donald Trump, if you could be the Cincinnatus of our time, that'd be great. Okay. All right. Hey, Trump, give it your best shot, buddy.
To Joe Biden. That's the threat.
In Michigan, Trump leads Biden 50 to 40% in a hypothetical head-to-head matchup, with 10% saying they wouldn't support either candidate. That raises the question of a threat from a third-party contender. Asked specifically about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Cornel West in Michigan, Trump falls to 39% and Biden to 31%.
This is fantastic news, to which I got to say, that's right, folks. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. You know what time. It's not an oof time. It's time to be amazing.
Amazing. Amazing. Amazing. Amazing. Amazing. Amazing.
And in Georgia, Trump has a 49 to 44% edge over Biden, the poll found, with 7% saying they would not back either. The challenges for Biden are coming into sharper view.
Trump just talks the talk. We walk the walk. Frankly, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
Among the many factors that could drive the race are Trump's numerous legal challenges, particularly the criminal charges for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
It's not true at all. Not true at all. My goodness. See, here's the thing. All these indictments, that mugshot, all this, all what it did was just make him stronger. Like he's amassing more power than ever before.
In Georgia and Michigan, nearly half of voters say that if true, they should disqualify him from the presidency.
So the president was campaigning in Philadelphia tonight at a fundraiser, and just a short time ago, he said that the fundamentals of democracy are at stake in the election, really trying to change the subject from the economy. And that is one of the central issues why he is struggling so much at this point in Georgia and Michigan. But Wolf, long before we ever know if there will be a rematch between Trump and Biden, the Iowa caucus is 4 weeks from tonight. As of now, Donald Trump does have a commanding lead in the race. There's no doubt about it. All eyes are on the race for second place, which is still between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis.
And no one cares because they're going to be second place. Okay? No one cares. You got Nikki. That's not her name, Haley. And Ron, the high heel, rootin', shootin', tootin', high heel cowboy, the sanctimonious. Really? Those two? Those two? No. Listen, I'm not a Republican, but Republican voters made it clear. They want Trump. Good luck. Good luck, Democrats. Good luck, vote blue no matter who. And I do wish all the best for third parties to continue to gain ground. Yes, I'm going to say it again. I want to see the Greens succeed. I want to see the Libertarians succeed. To an extent, even though I would probably want to see a little bit more. I'm not truly that impressed with it, but maybe, I want to see Dr. Cornel West's campaign succeed. And yes, even RFK Jr. succeed. I want to see all four of those people, the candidates, Jill Stein, who's the nominee for the Green Party, I think at least that's what it stands right now, and whoever Libertarian is, I want to see them get votes. I want to see them on the debate stage. And look, maybe this is me shooting high. I already know it won't happen, but if I had to make a high goal, a mark, I would like to see those four groups get electoral college votes, at least one. Now, I know that's a tall order. It's easier said than done, but I think this country deserves a shakeup in regards to how we run elections and the entire political process. And perhaps maybe this can inspire others to get involved through, yes, you guessed it, citizen ballot initiatives. Maybe this can inspire people to do more. I want to see that because we shouldn't just rely on electoral politics. But all of this is such good news for my soul because I feel like we could be witnessing the breaking point or maybe the beginning of perhaps third parties getting power and Americans breaking away from both Democrats and Republicans. And what a sight it would be. 2024, I said it before and I'll say it again. It's not going to be the most important election year of our lifetime, but it should be the most interesting and hopefully the most funny. Stay tuned to Hard Lens Media.